Here's your warning, this episode contains spoilers for the 2003 film House of the Dead. Hello and welcome to Badaptation, where we watch and talk about every theatrically released video game adaptation, their sequels, tie-ins and whatever else we fancy. I'm your host Finn and I'm joined as always by my co-host Guy.
Hello.
This week we're watching Uwe Boll's House of the Dead from 2003. Well, let's have a look at that trailer.
It was a nightmare. It all started a few days ago.
Where do you hide? When they're everywhere. What do you do? When there's no way out? How do you kill? What's already dead. Any way you can.
Like I said, it all started a few days ago.
Doesn't this bother any of you? We're on the island where the party of the year is supposed to be happening, but it's completely deserted.
Well, they sure as hell did not go to 7-Eleven to get more booze. Can't hear anything.
Neither do I.
Run! Run! There must be some kind of scientific explanation for this.
It's not human. It's like it's been mutated.
So, what now?
We send them back to hell.
Is that you, Matt?
Now, the only way to make it back alive is to send them all back to the House of the Dead.
I've been waiting for you for a long time.
I think that captured the vibe of the movie very well.
I thought that trailer, I was like, this trailer is better than the movie. I feel like this trailer sets the movie up to be better than it is.
Are you basing that entirely on the length of the trailer being shorter than the length of the movie?
No, I just think that I was looking at that trailer, you're like, okay, it looks a little bit cheesy.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of cool. It looks like it could be scary. It implies that it could be scary. The zombies could be good.
So you're saying like a nice layer of cheese, like on like a ham and cheese toasted sandwich.
Yeah, just a nice toasty.
But when you get to the movie, it's fondue, and there's nothing to actually dip in it.
And there's no ham there.
Nah,
there's not a shred.
Hands and cheese.
Literally not a shred of ham on that one. So
and it's expired by a year, which cheese can do. So, just a brief synopsis of the movie, if you can call it that. So, this movie is a supposed prequel to the original 1996 game and was directed by Uwe Boll and associately produced by Max Wanko. That's not important, I just thought the name was funny. 6 college kids travel by boat to Fire Festival on Death Island. When they get there, nobody else is there, but there's free booze, so who cares? Free booze to make up for the fact that they've paid about $2,000, not including the tickets, just to get there. So, free booze. Oh, bargain. They slowly figure out that the island is mostly deserted, save for some bloodthirsty zombies, and they'll have to escape. Somehow.
And maybe by stumbling across the House of the Dead. I really thought he was going to say hell at the end of that as well.
But they'd already said it as well.
Okay.
They already took the snippet of the boat guy, Captain Kirk, saying,
can't say
send them back to hell. So if you said it again, I would have pointed that out if you had have said it again. But look, you're going to send them back to the House of the Dead?
Well, I mean that is where the dead would live, in their house.
The whole thing's based on an island. That's what confused me. It's like, this really is an island of the dead more than a house. There's a house on the island, but it's even called the island of the
It would make
dead.
more sense if it was called the Island of the Dead.
But then it wouldn't be
a tie-in.
Yeah, or a very accurate prequel to the games because they mention a guy's name and there's zombies in it, so therefore it's the same as the game series. Speaking of the game series, how familiar are you with House of the Dead?
Like, I played it at the arcade.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's an arcade?
Exactly.
I'm so young.
Yeah. Gather round, children, and let me tell you, and this is another segment of, were you alive when these things existed? And I am, and he's not.
Yeah.
But arcades were very popular when I was a child. We all used to go there and line up like 20-cent pieces and put them all in the... Anyway, it was essentially what a time zone is now.
That's about 2 houses worth of money, I think. Back in your day.
Yeah, back in my day. That was but yeah, so essentially arcades were much more popular than they are now, and it's not all token based and stuff like that, but House of the Dead was, one of those, shooting light gun games that were popular at that time.
Yeah.
But unlike Resident Evil, which was this iconic game, this was just another random, shooter. Not particularly good, not particularly, interesting. I guess had zombies at a time where maybe not many had zombies back then. But really just a kind of average shooting game.
Yeah. And that's why I've never really delved into it, because it's an old man's average shooting game.
Nor should you.
Yeah. This didn't convince me to.
Yeah.
So, how did this movie make you feel?
Didn't make me feel good.
Okay.
Definitely filled me with some degree of rage and anger.
Oh.
Which, represents the critics' thought that this man does not deserve to be making movies and is not qualified to make movies. And certainly I did have that thought watching this. There was also... I was writing notes and I couldn't keep up with the movie and writing notes, because I had to write so many notes about all the different, with the Resident Evil, I just jot down a note here and there. Yeah. With this one, it was just constant notes, non-stop, what is going on, having to pause occasionally to catch up with the notes, just because there's so many insane things that happen in this film that kind of do need to be talked about and documented. It was just not good, and... that comes back to, the director, which I'm sure we are going to dip into.
Oh, yes.
And it made me, and this is not the first time I've sort of gone down a wormhole, or a rabbit hole, I should say, looking at this director's, how this director exists in the world of filmmaking.
I think that's a wormhole when it comes to this.
Yeah, the how and the why.
Yeah.
I went on this journey back in 2003.
Yeah.
And then I went back, and now it seems like... They've made this documentary. I don't know if you've seen this documentary, Fuck the World, Uwe Boll or something like that.
I've heard of it. I haven't dove in yet.
I was like, okay, the trailer made it look quite interesting, but more just, I was just like, man, someone has kind of made a documentary to summarize this general sentiment that the film community has about this person.
Yep.
And I think this may be it. I just watched the trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes.
So do you know how he keeps making movies?
I have an idea, but you go on and break it down.
From memory, because I didn't write any of this down, but I did went down that same wormhole that had a few rabbits in it. I think that's why the rabbits were down there looking for those worms. And it's mainly tax reasons. So making movies in Germany at the time that he was doing it, he could get a big return or lots of funding from the German government, which is no longer applicable. So he's stopped making movies. So thank you, Germany.
Thank you.
For that and very little else.
And we won't talk about anything else that we might.
No, he's Austrian.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The other thing that is going on here when you look at because he's had this very lengthy career. He's made 20-ish films or produced or had some hand in, which is insane given the incredible low quality of all of them.
Yes. That'd be like us reaching 20 episodes of podcast.
Well, the thing is, we can do it for free. Yes. This film had a $13 million budget, which you can see the budget on the screen. He made the most of his budget. I will, if I'm going to pay him any compliment in this entire podcast, I would say you do see some of that budget up on screen.
Yes, I think I could also spend $13 million if it was given to me.
Yeah.
I'll just put that out there.
Yeah. Also, there's this other thing that happens, which has sort of now with streaming and stuff been diminished, but there was an idea that you could essentially buy like an IP like House of the Dead or attach a sort of semi-star, and essentially you would make the money back through your foreign pre-sales. So you'd sell it to all the territories and make your money back instantly.
Yep.
So, you'd make $13 million worth of pre-sales, which is quite crazy. You wouldn't do that now. This type of film wouldn't do that now. But that was primarily due to all these territories knew that they could sell a certain amount of DVDs.
Yes, it was the DVDs.
And it was the DVD/Blu-ray market that sort of kind of kept these type of filmmakers afloat for so long.
I hope this is on Blu-ray.
I imagine it might be.
A movie from 2003 that only I like.
He very successfully operated in that model, plus his tax breaks. You combine those two things, and it explains, sadly, how this man has had like a profitable, successful film career.
Yes.
Based off a bunch of abysmal films, which not only are terrible in their own right, but don't deserve to make any money,
No. Do they deserve people to make podcasts trashing him after he's already been trashed for about 20 or so years? I say yes, because that's art, He put something out there. He's made a bunch of money on it, so he doesn't care what we think.
That's true. He doesn't.
But also he does, because if he heard what we had to say, he'd literally try to punch us in the head.
He would try.
Because he's got thin skin, a thick skull, but a thicker wallet. So good on him.
Yep.
I guess. I'm jealous. I wish I could be that mediocre at something and make that much money.
I know. And I guess that's why there's so much critical hate.
Yes, because I could do better than that.
I could do better than that. And it's like this anomaly, this imbalance, this universal imbalance of someone doing something and making a lot of money from it.
Yes.
But having absolutely no business making that thing or making any money from it. So this Uwe Boll,
it's gonna be your favorite. And luckily, he only makes up half of the movies we're gonna be doing.
That we're gonna be covering,
and the other half is Resident Evil. So so far so good.
Yeah,
I have a few clips from this movie that I want to talk about because the overall thing of this is like there's really bad dialogue.
Yep.
There's really produced action.
Yep.
And there's a lot of homages to other films within this film. You wouldn't really pick up on them by watching it, but if you've watched some highlights of the DVD commentary starring Uwe Boll, then maybe you've picked up on the ones that he's gone, yeah, that's an homage to a better film, which doesn't make your film better.
No.
As
referencing good films and knowing that you have seen good films does not make your film good by homaging to them.
There's only one example I can think of where I disagree, and that's the character in this movie who mentions Romero movies. Therefore, making this movie as good as those. I think that works.
Oh, yeah.
Does that work?
I forgot that guy.
Yeah, and then he
erased that guy from my mind, but yep.
I think he's kind of designed in this movie to be like a guy who looks like he works at a Blockbuster or something. I've Googled what Blockbuster was.
Yep.
And this movie wasn't one. Hey-o. And so I think he was put in there to be like, oh, look, these are good movies and this is good. And then he dies very quickly.
Right.
And he's very nerdy. And
I see.
I think maybe.
Yep, quite possibly. I would have imagined he would have humiliated him a little bit more and made him more of a nerd.
Yeah, maybe if he had a $14 million budget.
Or maybe if he'd seen some of the critical reaction to this, prior to.
Yeah, I think early Uwe Boll maybe hadn't got that backlash yet.
That's right.
Because the thing's, he's an award-winning director. He has made films that have been universally loved, but nothing to do with this.
Right.
I think it's stuff based on, World War II.
Yeah.
In German. So it's like, well, that's not accessible.
So this is before this is prior to his.
It may have even been after this.
Right.
But either way, it's completely separate.
Right.
Like he knows how to make a film.
Yeah.
This is not that film.
No.
Although he definitely made it, didn't he? He's got his fingerprints all over it. There is one particular scene that I think highlights the worst/best dialogue in the movie.
Yeah, you know what? I remember when she used to be fun.
When was that? Kindergarten?
That's funny. You're funny.
But think something bad's happened here.
Ooh, like what?
Well, they sure as hell did not go to 7-Eleven to get more booze because the keg is full.
Right on.
Cheers.
Chin chin.
Salud.
L'chaim.
Well, what the fuck?
The highlighting of the typical airhead blonde character. They come across a shirt covered in blood, and the smart female character in this goes, "Oh, I think something's happened." Oh no. She goes, "Ooh, like what?" As if it could be something sexy or like, ooh, playful, flirty. It's a shirt covered in blood, you psycho. But then I think their exchange of, salutations while drinking, I thought that was genuinely funny.
Okay.
It just goes,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Well, as we continue here, I just want to play this next tiny bit.
Doesn't this bother any of you? We're on the island where the rave of the year is supposed to be happening, but it's completely deserted.
Yeah, it worries me. It worries me they don't have any mixers. Simon cannot survive on bud alone.
Speak for yourself, dude.
It worries me that they're not. So it doesn't worry you that the whole place is deserted.
Nope.
That's not a worry.
Rave of the year.
The rave of the year, there's no one there. It's completely empty. It worries him that there's not any mixers because they don't want to drink Budweiser beer.
Yeah, these guys they're all horrible. They all suck as people.
Yep.
I don't like a single one of them. It's like, what if, I guess, like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that kind of comedy where it's like, oh, everyone sucks here.
Yeah.
But the redeeming quality is seeing their plans fall through or their evil plans, and, they kind of get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
This is just 6 awfully written characters. I think it's 6.
Yes.
And they're just watching them flail about and stumble across an island.
We should give a quick honourable mention, though, to the first entrance here of Salesh. Is that what it's called? Salesh? Clint Howard.
What you doing over there?
Good evening. Beautiful day, isn't it?
You got yourself some sort of hearing disability? I ask you a question.
Come to try to your boat, sir.
Oh, you do, huh? Well, that's too bad. Because this here's a fishing boat, not the Pacific Princess.
Okay, so this is Clint Salesh Howard.
Yes.
Now, there was 2 things that I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
The first one, though, being that he hooks off his hook on a hook.
I didn't even notice that. That's great.
He just
great.
hooks his hook on a hook and leaves to come and have a chat. Why wouldn't you keep your hook on, for starters?
Oh, I reckon
But he just puts the hook on a hook.
That's probably just him having fun, isn't it?
Uwe
probably didn't even notice that's what he was doing.
No. So that's a great character intro. One of the better characters.
Yes.
Salesh. Also, the other thing that struck me was that he's in this full yellow raincoat.
Yeah.
Despite it being a very sunny, beautiful day. I just feel like you would not be wearing the full thing when it's that sunny.
Yeah, well, he's got to look out for his monkey. The one that's run away. The man with the yellow hat.
Salesh. So that's Clint Howard, one of the, I guess, B-movie celebrities.
Family member of 2 celebrities.
Yeah, that's right. So he's the brother of famous director / actor Ron Howard and Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Who's in the Jurassic Park movies.
Jurassic World, actually.
Sorry, my bad. And a bunch of other things, and she's also directing now as well. So
yeah,
he's like the least successful Howard, like by a very large margin.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing all right.
I'm not saying he's not doing it right. I'm just saying where you stand in the Howard family, he's at the bottom.
He was in the Austin Powers movie.
He was.
Yeah. Had a brief cameo, I guess you call it.
Have you got some other clips too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's what I call the springboard zombie and the death of my favourite character, Will Sanderson's Greg. So, a few things. I was going to try count them, but I can't. The way that the zombies leap onto the screen, I believe is supposed to be a hidden practical effect. But they either didn't care to or couldn't be bothered hiding the springboard mechanism. You can just see it plainly, them just springboarding onto the screen, which is either they've left them around the island in case they ever need to, traverse.
Yeah, well, they want to jump at someone very quickly.
In the movie.
In certain areas.
So so that means that they don't have that ability to jump?
Yeah, there's just springboards planted.
There's just springboards planted. And also when he dies, they mimic the death screen from the games, probably. I imagine that's what that was, surely.
Yes, it's quite insane. And that is actually sort of similar to the Resident Evil death, where it goes, you died and you have this blood kind of coming down across the screen, and but this one's got this weird 360 shot.
Yes.
Which makes no sense.
I think maybe it's replicating something from the games, maybe the camera shot as well. They took full advantage of those 360-degree cameras.
They really did.
So much so that they've never been used in a movie ever since.
That's right. They used them so much.
And caused too many injuries.
Is that right?
Yes. There's a few injuries in this movie. One, there's earlier in the movie, I think it's the main guy, Rudy, might be. He falls down on a bridge and gets a nail through his hand.
Yes.
And it never comes up in the movie again.
Yep.
It's because he actually injured his hand and they needed a reason for him to have a bandage throughout the rest of the movie.
Okay.
Or I think at some point he's even wearing a fake hand glove.
Right.
Or something.
And
I think it's the 360 spinning thing that
hit
got
him.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did make a lot of notes about the 360 cam.
Well, The Matrix had just come out.
The Matrix had just come out.
2 years prior.
And it's interesting.
No, sorry. 4 years prior.
4 years
So I'm just
prior.
going to hammer that point home.
So, this is at the tail end of Matrix cam, I suppose. And as you said, they literally killed this as a concept.
So Matrix cam is either the 360 thing while they're doing an action, or it's the 360 camera while someone's up on some wires, the Matrix kick, which is referenced as recently as the latest Space Jam movie.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is an indictment on Matrix, but Jesus Christ, that movie came out in 1999, and it's in the latest
Well, it does look
Space
cool.
Jam. Sure.
I think it's good. I mean, good.
Wait, have you done it in one of your movies?
No.
Okay, good. I
I
thought
couldn't afford
that's maybe
to.
why you went to the defense.
But no, it's 100% but it's the completely inappropriate for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like every single time they use this Matrix spinning cam, it's inappropriate.
Yes.
It does not work. And it's not required.
There is a 10-minute, I didn't time it, but it seems like it takes more than a song's worth, big montage where they all just, Captain Kirk, that's an homage to Star Trek, by the way, goes and gets his illegal weapons out, and so they've all just got basically infinite ammo, and they just shoot as many zombies as they can for about 10 minutes straight while I think it's a custom-made song.
Yes.
Is playing.
A terrible custom-made song.
Yeah, which I think is fitting.
Yes.
And it goes for a lengthy amount of time. I think it's probably one of the best parts of the movie, unfortunately, because it's at least doing something. It's a bit of fun, but it serves more as a music video than a part of a movie.
Yeah, so I did make a note about that as well, because I'd sort of forgotten about how we have this long, drawn-out, never-ending, and you just keep watching, and it's not like...
It's an homage to video games.
It's not like
you've got infinite ammo.
It's not, and you do the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. That's the thing is the weird part about it is there's not very much variation in that entire. So it's not like you're seeing something new. Sometimes these elaborate, say, Jackie Chan films, they've got all these elaborate action sequences which change and evolve.
Yes.
This is just them doing the same things with the same camera moves over and over and over again while this whole song, and not only does that whole pre-made House of the Dead song, which is absolutely terrible, they get through that whole song and they have to start another song.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to fit it just to this song. So the song and the action, and then that's going to be it. No. That song finishes and they keep going. And obviously they've got all these Matrix shots. And so the reason, if you sort of break it down from a practical filmmaking level, essentially you set up this 360 camera in the middle of this studio. And essentially that means that once it's set up, you can, which will take several hours, you can replicate that movement over and over again.
Yes.
So what they would have done is put each character into that place and had zombies come at them as they did different things.
Or even not have them come at them. They just have them doing something on the spot.
Well, the weirdest one to me was there's a bit where a zombie is shot and falls over in 360. And I was like, really? You're going to make a zombie fall over in 360?
Well, they got to make the most of it, I guess.
And there is a moment where they both leap up and a zombie throws the axe and she leaps up and shoots a shotgun.
Yes. Yes, because you got to jump to shoot.
You got to jump like 2 meters in the air to shoot a shotgun at a zombie throwing an axe at you. The shotgun blast obviously has no effect, like no recoil or anything on her.
No, of course not. But if it did, she probably would have landed a sick backflip.
Yeah, it was just mind-boggling. So yeah, the fight goes on from about 51 to 57-ish minutes.
Okay, speaking of 57-ish minutes,
yeah,
I want to show the audience how it ends.
Okay.
Where I've labelled it as Rudy getting a migraine. So just to set up this clip, Liberty, the American flag-clad woman who was on the island when they got there.
Yes.
Who was one of the Sega party dancers.
That's right.
Because there was a Sega stage.
Yeah.
Because they made this game. And also the rest of the dancers were actual strippers because that's cheaper than hiring dancers.
Mm-hmm.
Uwe Boll's words.
Or actors that dance.
Yeah. And even though some of them are doing very PG dances, I was like, that's a stripper who knows how to dance.
Yes.
Doing a dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to a dancer acting like a stripper, it was you could tell it was the other way around. This is not a PG movie. They have titties in this movie.
They do.
I think it's like 3 times in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're all egregious. There's no reason for any of them.
Absolutely not justified.
No. This movie is as sexy as it is scary. Which is -4. So Rudy is seeing his new friend getting eaten by zombies and looks kind of annoyed. Like, I think it's supposed to be, oh no, oh, she's going down. Oh, what can I do? I better have a flashback to the last 7 minutes in an even quicker montage.
Shall we look at it?
Here we go. So to me, that looks like a fan edit.
Yep.
Of the movie. Here's my favorite parts of the movie as quickly as I can. If you weren't paying attention for the last 7 or 8 minutes during our montage, we've got a montage of that montage.
Yes. I wrote, the fight goes on for so long that Rudy has a flashback of the fight while they are still in the fight. There's levels to this shit. There's levels to this. This is Inception. This is the Inception moment. This is where Christopher Nolan got his inspiration. Okay?
What if we put a music video in the music video in the movie, which is a video with music?
The crazy thing too is that, like,
it's the best part of the movie.
Well, it is probably one of the highlights of the film. I was like, what? When I saw it. But also, like, the techno music, whenever the zombies, and, you know, we did mention this a little bit with Resident Evil, but it's way worse here, is that it's this funky techno music whenever the zombies are around.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely horrific. But even if you were just to take aside, you know, maybe techno's not a great genre, shall we say?
Subjective.
Yep, there we go. I said it first.
Guys,
okay.
Viewpoint.
Maybe it's not the best genre of music of all time.
Did you have a go at rap last time?
No.
Okay. Would you like to?
No, I'm a big fan of hip hop.
Okay.
But
as long as they're playing instruments.
The idea that anytime you're meant to scare the audience, we'll put on this rave techno music.
Okay, so is this the opposite of Sophie Ellis-Bextor? where she was singing about murder on the dance floor.
Yeah.
But here it's dance on the murder floor.
It's just kind of like someone not understanding how to make something scary, but fundamentally also not understanding how to make movies, combining those two things to decide on
a scary movie.
What should be played when he wants to scare. It's just so bad. Because, you think like at some point, maybe this was the techno time, but then later on we'll get to the serious, scary stuff.
Yeah.
We do not.
No.
We do not.
I do have a soft spot for Captain Kirk.
Me too.
It was in this
Me
movie.
too.
This is a visual wee gag I'm going to do here, or representation of how he shoots guns. Pew, pew, pew. One at a time, barely aiming. Akimbo, though, because he's cool. So he has his own scene where his boat gets invaded by zombies, and he just calmly shoots them.
Shoots them dead.
He just shoots them. That's it. The scene, I think, is to establish that he's a cool guy.
He's a badass.
He's a badass German man. Apparently he's, quite a B-movie man in Germany. I was going to say prolific, but I have no idea about his prolif. When listening to the DVD commentary, Uwe Boll had this to say about the scene. I like this scene because he's smoking his cigar. He see maybe first time in his life a zombie. He don't care. He shoot.
And this is the thing. That's what kind of got me.
I think that's his philosophy when it comes to making movies.
Film.
He doesn't care. He shoots.
A cigar. The cigar's cool.
Sure.
This is the first time he's seen a zombie in his life. That was to me the bit. I was like, wait a second. I don't think we've established that Captain Kirk is familiar with zombies at this point where he's just blowing away these random people on this boat who don't necessarily even look that much like zombies.
Well, he does know that it's the island of the dead. He knows that going into it. He got
so he's just
$2,000.
made the assumption pretty quick. He's gone, these must be zombies.
I don't think we should jump to any further conclusions about what Captain Kirk thinks about people who don't look like him.
Yeah. So he's the best thing about this film. He's the most charismatic actor in the film.
Yes.
He kind of has the best role.
Well, I guess what we were saying earlier about everyone being unlikable is he's the only one that isn't. It's like, oh yeah, he's alright.
He is. He has some sort of just something about him. He's not written well or anything, but he happens to imbue a certain charisma.
He does. He does have charisma, yeah.
That really works.
At one point, they think he's on his boat, which is being overrun by zombies, but he's not. He's escaped. And he's shooting at a zombie, or at least trying, until one of the characters yells, like, shoot it, while he's aiming at it. And he goes, what do you think I'm trying to do, you fucking moron? Which I thought was great.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
That was good. I don't know if that's good script writing or whether it's dunking on bad script writing, because it's them that have written, oh, he should be yelling, shoot it. This insufferable character should be insufferable. And then he'll kind of point it out. But that character continues to be like that throughout the whole film anyway. So I think, if anything, it's kind of like, it's good because it's a criticism of the film more than anything, and the characters within the film.
So I do have one other bit that I think we should go and have a look at.
Sure.
Salish? 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 Salish?
Sellers lived like one of them.
Kirk, where are you? Kirk, what are you doing? They're gonna kill you.
I'm dead already.
See you on Hell, boys.
Everybody get down!
Okay.
Let me hear your thoughts, Guy.
Okay. So that was Captain Kirk's death.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of things to ponder for me there. The first one is that there is a zombie whistling
Yes.
to Captain Kirk. Now, I don't know because I could not bear to go back through the film to check that we ever saw Salish whistling.
I had the same thought. Was like, was this established? Ah, well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't bear to watch it back at all to kind of double check. But in my head, there's no Salish whistling at any time.
Probably not.
And because both you and I wondered that,
Yeah, and there's no way to find out.
and there's no way to know because none of us can ever watch this completely again,
Not
you
for
know,
a third time.
without, pain. So first I was like, what, when have we ever said that Salish whistles? And that's a thing. 2, even if he does whistle, would there really be a whistling zombie?
Yeah.
On number 3, why, if there is a whistling zombie, would you open the door to check? The whole thing is they were getting to the House of the Dead,
Which is now the House of the Living.
to fortify,
Yeah.
to make it, quote, defensible. We can make it defensible.
He's got his finger up.
Okay.
He's making a point.
All right, that's how that was the line that established what they were trying to do,
Yes.
and then he just completely undoes all of that, and then you go, okay, well maybe he's going out because of the whistling zombie Salish, who was his friend, and he's going to put him out of his misery, and he's bitten already, so he's going to die. So that's all good, except that he then proceeds to blow himself up, blowing the windows and doors out that they spent all that time, including him, fortifying and securing.
So to go even deeper onto that, they were fortifying the doors and the windows, and the zombies weren't even trying.
No.
The zombies weren't around the building until the door was blown off.
That's right. And what's even stranger is like he unlatches that big wooden door, and then originally they couldn't get through that door because it was locked.
Yeah.
And until someone goes through a window,
Yes.
which he boards up by putting a flimsy table across it,
Yes.
and sort of semi-propping a piece of wood against it,
Yeah.
which would not stop a single zombie.
No.
But that's just kept them at bay all this time until Captain Kirk goes out and blows the doors and windows up.
Yes.
That he went
Well
there
established.
Well, this is the problem with this film.
Well, he was whistling.
He was whistling, and the whistling sort of made him have like a sort of a brain fart, and he just through the safety of everyone else.
Yep. Well, he was dying anyway. So.
He was dying anyway, so he didn't care about them.
If I was him, I would have done that while in the house.
Well, if I was him and I was stuck with these people, these human beings.
If I knew I was dead, I wouldn't want them to live either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to live. Yeah, okay.
So a few things I think were established after the film had been made in terms of like voiceover stuff. Like earlier, one of the very first things we get introduced to is all the characters where they give a brief synopsis like, she's blonde and dumb. He's my really good friend, but he's really dumb as well. There's 2 people that are established as very dumb.
Yeah.
But then the smart woman, she's smart because she knows what cartography is. That's how they establish that. She also corrects someone who says, that looks like it's been there for a millennia.
Looks like it was built a millennia ago.
Simon, it's centuries.
She corrects him by saying, it's centuries.
Yeah.
Millennia is just multiple centuries. I don't know, man. kind of lost the smart points there for me. Unless they knew the exact date that it was. I don't know, odd choice of like, actually,
odd
but
correction.
she was wrong.
Or
just didn't correct them. Just
said it a different way.
Yeah. Actually, here's a synonym. Great, thank you. But at the beginning, she's established. I think it's from Rudy's perspective. That's his ex-girlfriend, and they just happen to meet on this, which is barely established other than by this voiceover at the beginning. And he says,
"We broke up a few weeks ago so I could study and she could fence. She loves it. I don't see what it's good for."
That's immediately I was like, she's doing sword fighting later on in this movie, and she does.
She sure does.
Not fencing,
no.
But I guess that's as close as you can get.
Well, yes, in that intro voiceover. This was one of the lines.
They say God doesn't give with two hands, and they were right. You got the looks, but not much between those ears.
Seems to be written by someone with not much between the ears.
I can't remember whether it was in this movie or someone had written about this character in the movie where they said he has a Tom Cruise face and a Rain Man brain.
It's in this movie.
That's in this movie. That is a pretty good line. That's a pretty good line.
Yeah, I actually wrote that one down.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good for this movie. Because at least they're both,
there is some absolute zingers in here. It's much like that one.
Yeah.
There was a couple that gave me pause for reflection. So Liberty goes, "Didn't you ever watch Scooby-Doo?" As like why they shouldn't go into the haunted house. And it's like, well, if you ever watch Scooby-Doo, you'd know that it always gets revealed. No one gets hurt.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that someone who's a ghost or a zombie or whatever isn't really. It's just a harmless...
It's the theme park owner.
And he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for the pesky kids.
Yeah.
So Scooby-Doo is fine if it turns out to be Scooby-Doo.
Yes. Also, Scooby-Doo's a dog. He was in Resident Evil.
What? Why? Scooby-Doo is fine if it turns out to be like Scooby-Doo. That's not a warning.
No.
A warning could be, have you guys seen Resident Evil? that would be like, oh, okay, yeah, this could be serious.
Maybe she was just curious whether they'd seen Scooby-Doo. Have you guys seen Scooby-Doo?
Didn't you ever watch Scooby-Doo? Yeah, so it could be. Yeah, as if she wants to know because she's a Scooby-Doo fan.
Yeah.
That would make more sense if this was just passing conversation.
Any scoobas out here on this island?
Yeah. Terrible.
When they get into the House of the Dead, this haunted House of the Dead that isn't owned by the local theme park owner, smart lady gets a book out and says, "Guys, check out this book. It's really old. Maybe it'll help us."
Guys, check out this book. It looks pretty old. Maybe it'll help us.
The older a book, the more helpful
it is. More helpful it is.
And that's why I rely on the Bible.
That's why you read that every night.
All the time.
Yeah.
And then further on, we talk to the Spanish man who created a serum for immortality.
Yeah.
And as he's torturing Rudy asks,
"You created it all so you could be immortal. Why?" To live forever.
Yeah, that's what I just asked. Why did you want to do that? You wanted to be immortal so you could live forever. It's like asking, why did you want to be invisible? Oh, so no one could see me. Yeah, no, I get that. That's implied in the question. Not a lot between the hands, I think.
Yeah, that definitely stood out to me. I forgot about that immortal line, but this one really struck me. This actually gave me like a pause of like, ooh. Wait, fucking what? So they're talking about. So Rudy was with the main girl. I don't actually know her name.
Is this the smart girl?
Yeah, the smart girl. She's with
the cartographer Noah.
The cartographer Noah. They're talking about how they've kind of paired off with these other two people.
Yes.
And the lady, the smart lady,
smart lady,
says, "So you came with that girl," speaking of Liberty, "let me give you a tip. I don't think she's a natural red, white, and blue." Now,
if you were listening closely there, we both paused for a reflection.
Far be it from me. So I actually did have to rewind that bit and play it a couple of times just to make sure that I heard that. because to me, this woman is racist. And she's saying, like, look, she's not American. Did you know she's Asian?
Well, maybe she was saying, hey, you know she's not French. You know, the red, the white, and blue on their flag.
Because she's wearing a red, white, and blue. This is liberty we're talking about.
Yes, it's an American flag
themed
apparel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. So you saying that's bad that she's Asian?
Yeah.
That really seemed to be the implication to me there.
And she's the lady we're supposed to like. She's the smart one.
She's the smart one.
She's well read. She's read an old book that might be helpful. Maybe that's where she got that from.
Yeah, I was just like, man.
The older the book, the more racist, probably.
Yeah. So that was just a bit of a worrisome thing there because she was saying it like an insult.
Yeah.
That was just before the Rain Man quote. Okay. That was just following or preceding the Rain Man quote there. Yes.
I missed that one.
Yeah. So a little bit concerning there. But also, I did find it funny. Maybe we'll go to it actually.
Where's Sin?
I don't know, bro. You tell me.
We gotta go find her.
Did that come from? What is? What is? Cynthia! No! What?
What the hell was that thing?
Our best friend.
Not anymore.
Pretty hard to say.
Yeah, just that magic dialogue. So, is she the boat patrol lady? Is that who that?
I think she's the police that were following them because they suspected that Captain Kirk had illegal submarine.
Yeah, so she's the boat patrol police.
Yes.
I just thought it was funny that she shot that woman forcefully so much that she was blown several meters away.
Yep.
And then she was like, what the hell was that thing?
She may have seen it break that guy's neck.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
That snively little film critic man.
Yeah. And then that was my best friend. Not anymore. well,
I hope you've stopped grieving. If she had have then shot her again, I think that would have really put the icing on the cake.
But her acting is quite significantly bad by the standards of quite bad acting. She delivers a lot of line. The boat lady delivers a lot of lines quite unconvincingly in the standard that is a very low bar.
Yeah, it doesn't
she just does not emote much.
Manages to trip over that very low bar somehow.
Yes.
So just looking at my notes of we talked about earlier about how this movie was made. Found an excerpt of an interview from Uwe Boll, and they asked him, how did he get into directing video game adaptations? Basically by accident, to be honest. I got the House of the Dead script and didn't even want to do it. But they asked me to go out and ask kids if they knew about House of the Dead. So I did, and 8 out of 10 said, yeah, I know that game, I've played it. So I thought, why not?
What better reason to make a $13 million film than because you didn't want to make it, but you talked to some kids down the street and most of them had happened to play the game.
Yep.
Yeah, spend 6 months making this.
Maybe he went to an arcade specifically. So it's like a pretty skewed sample, isn't it? People who have heard of video games and play video games. But I guess that's the audience they're trying to appeal to is little kids in this R-rated movie with tits and blood. And there was a director's cut released.
Yeah.
Which is awful. Even worse. Because all it does, it'll flash up with little bits of text and be like, oh, this is smelly man. Or like, oh, I accidentally left in this shot, whoopsie daisy. Or he'll put in alternative shots, or he'll even leave in bloopers. But it starts off with Uwe Boll being tied to a chair and tortured by being made to watch this film. So he was already aware that this movie was going to be bad. But still, He has very thin skin about being criticised. So, I don't know. This is not a very well man. He's not very stable, I'd say. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, there's this whole thing about him challenging critics to boxing matches.
Yes. I think we can get into that in a later episode because we've got plenty of Uwe Boll movies where we won't want to talk about the film, so we'll talk about Uwe Boll instead.
Okay, yeah.
There's a sequel to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we should mention just another couple of standouts that I had, which was Karma, who was the African-American woman.
Yes.
She is the one that shoots the vat.
Yes. Yes. So you come across a vat of liquid with a mysterious object in it. Or is there a mysterious object in it?
You can't really see. It's just a vat of red liquid. I'm not sure whether you can see anything in it to begin with.
And then it hits the side of the glass. And like a little jump scare for those in the movie. So her instinct is to shoot it with a shotgun.
That's right. So imagine a fish coming up to the edge of the fish tank.
Yes.
And the way that you keep the fish in and contained, if it gave you a fright, it's a little piranha or something, would be take a step back.
Or do nothing.
Tap on the glass if you wanted.
Shoot the glass, did you say? Double tap the glass with my shotgun, did you say? Well, don't mind if I do.
Yeah. So she sees this little mummy zombie head thing pop up against the glass, and rather than just leave it alone, because it's contained, it's been in this glass for however long, it's not going anywhere, the glass is completely contained, it's like a fish tank, she shoots it out.
Yep.
She blows it out, and then all this zombie
fluid
goes over the zombies in this testing area.
Yes.
And brings them back to life and sets them back off on their adventure.
Yes. Unfortunately, it elongates this movie a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then, the movie basically ends with they find a back route tunnel underneath the house. They get out. They find Mr. Spanish Immortal Man.
Yep.
Chop his head off, stomp on it. Pretty gross. But there's also a boob shot, as Uwe Boll put it, where they're running away, I think, from an explosion.
Yeah.
She's running in slow motion.
And you see a lot of cleavage.
Yeah. Even during the commentary, he went, boob shot.
Sucker for punishment.
Man of very...
You, I mean, just watching the commentary plus this twice.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And doing research into Uwe Boll.
Also.
Who had this to say about critics about his film. If they write about my movies without even seeing the movies, then it's really annoying. I think that's a valid point, If you make a movie like House of the Dead, a zombie movie, what are they expecting? Schindler's List? Very defensive. I don't know. Maybe compare it to a different zombie movie. That's more fair.
Yeah.
He also went on to say, I think I made a perfect House of the Dead movie because it really shows how the game is. It's a lot of fun. It's over-the-top action. Wrong. Wrong. No. Bad. And then he also went on to say that Blood Rain is a way better movie than House of the Dead.
Which, that may be true.
That we are yet to find out.
Yeah, we're yet to find that one out.
That one also has 3.
Yeah, 3 Blood Rains.
So that's 6 Uwe Boll zombie movies so far.
So, here's the thing. There was just a couple of things that kind of took me about towards the end of the film. Now, maybe one of the best things is that, so essentially what happens is they go down into this mine shaft.
Yeah.
And then these moss zombies come out of the walls.
Yes.
And then Karma just goes, I'll take care of them.
And dies.
Don't worry, guys, I got this. And proceeds to be killed
and
immediately.
Dies. Yes.
Immediately.
I guess that's Karma.
Not that she'd done anything bad.
No.
Oh, well, no, it is Karma for shooting out that bloody fish tank.
And just, I don't know, is it Karma?
And she was the one that had the Scooby-Doo line, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was it her?
I think so.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
Does this movie pass the, I was going to say the Turing test. Yeah.
The
Bechdel test, yeah. Is every actor in this not a robot? Hard to tell from their acting. Thank you. They failed the Turing test. I don't care to watch it again and find out.
Yeah. No point trying to confirm that. But yeah, so her death is really weird because it's like you've been fighting zombies for this long and then you decide to get in like a...
Just really confident for some reason.
Yeah, like just really feel you can take like 7 of these moss zombies by yourself without your weapons, without your friend. It just makes no sense. It's almost like we're like, oh shit, she's still here.
Yeah.
But she's not in the next scenes.
Oh, have you got a doctor's appointment to go to?
She's not in the next scene, so we really need to just get rid of her right now.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
You can only afford to pay the babysitter for 2 more hours?
Okay.
Well then we'll...
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
Moss zombies. Guys, we've got a ghillie suit or something. Can you just dress up, hug her? All right.
So after these moss zombies, Greg returns.
Greg, who we saw the death of earlier in Glorious 360. So Greg returns and they're like, Greg? Oh, sorry. Just when you say 360,
yeah,
do you mean that's how many pixels are on the screen when we're watching it, or the rotation?
The rotation of the.
I think both.
Yeah, maybe both. Then they follow Greg, who's acting weird, and is not saying anything,
and he's weird at acting as well.
And they follow him in, and they're like, Greg, just say something, man. Like, what's going on here? Why are we in this weird? Why have you taken us to this weird dungeon past the underground mine shaft that we found under the House of the Dead?
And they still, when he says, lo siento, no hablo inglés, mi amo no es Greg.
But one of the greatest moments in this film for me was when Greg, down there, pulls off his face to reveal he was not Greg. It was the main bad guy wearing Greg's face as a mask, Hannibal Lecter styles.
And they didn't know about this guy. They'd never seen this guy. So to them, it's not really a reveal. It's more of a reveal to the audience. And they're just like, oh, a zombie.
Yeah.
Who can talk and stuff. And then
they
kill him, movie ends.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt like that reveal, I was like, hey, that's actually quite cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one coming.
No. I did because I'd seen it before, unfortunately.
But yeah, so them pulling off Greg's face to reveal the main bad guy. They also, when they have this fight, he gets his head chopped off.
Yes.
But the body keeps going in a comical fashion.
I thought that was a pretty neat idea.
You thought that was all right, choking him to death?
They're trying, yeah. Till they very gorily, if that's a word, stomp on his head. With pretty good practical effects. I thought like, oh, that kind of got like a visceral reaction from me of like, oh.
It was a gross moment.
Yeah.
And then there is also a line right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 3. Actually.
And there's a 4th line of me going, hey, she got stabbed through the chest. I wonder if anything's going to happen with that.
And
no.
No, it does. There's an implication that it does. So, first, when they're fighting this Spanish zombie, she says, isn't it nice to know someone wants you for their body?
Hey.
And then also, I can't remember which one of them says, but before they stomp on his head, game over, fucker. Because it's a video game.
Oh, and
it's a video game movie.
And the movie's ending. It's over.
Like a game over screen in a video game.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing
that was, I think, too subtle. I didn't quite pick up on that.
The
implications.
The other thing, is the random cutaways of the game in the movie.
And I'll probably just be using those when editing this.
Please do. Please do, because it's very appropriate. And essentially, it cuts to these at the weirdest times.
Oh, yeah. Not every scene transition.
No.
But just random ones. And it seems like they forgot.
Yeah, and then sometimes they use it, and like when they're down in the mine shaft, they do a cutaway of them down in the mine shaft.
It was more of like an enhancement of the action as opposed to a transition.
But it's very distracting because you're just trying to pay attention and then you're cutting to a video game, which is not like, Halo 4 or whatever we're talking about now. Where it's this hyper-real thing. It's like blocky, chunky, horrible looking graphics.
And it wasn't very easy to emulate an arcade game back then, so it kind of does have that feel of someone's filming an arcade cabinet with a video camera.
Yeah.
Instead of, so the footage looks odd. It only ever fades in a little bit. Like, it's never completely on screen, so I think there's a reason for that. Odd choice, one that has never been repeated for good reason.
Yeah, but it was just like, who thought Uwe Boll thought it was a good idea, but it was just like, how could anyone watching it with him just might go like, Uwe, like, you know, the film is what it is.
Yeah.
However, can you just take out these weird cutaways because they're really distracting, they make no sense, and they do nothing but make this film worse than it already is?
I think the only people who would care would be the people employed for the film who would have gotten any kind of residuals.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
Yeah,
oh,
Seeger
whatever,
would probably like, yeah, keep that. Those are great, actually.
Yeah. No, I think the ones that would have cared would have said to take them out because they want the movie to do well. The ones doing the editing are probably like, no, whatever you say, Mr. Boll. Who cares?
Another great moment. Stay on the lookout, or something like, stay on the lookout for any reanimated Homo sapiens.
Yeah, that's how people talk.
That's how people talk.
That's how Homo sapiens communicate verbally.
Have you seen any reanimated Homo sapiens recently?
Oh, no, sorry. I've only seen some just regular
regular
animated...
Homo sapiens here.
Oh, bloody show you an animated Homo erectus if you bloody play your cards right. And that's, look, a not very evolved man. Here we go. When watching the DVD commentary, there were about 3 people and then also Will Sanderson were all involved. And it seems like they are aware of Uwe Boll's lack of self-awareness.
So they're talking in the commentary?
They're talking in it as well.
Okay.
And it's just more of a conversation while the movie's happening.
Yeah.
He even answers personal phone calls during it. He doesn't give a shit. Yeah, he doesn't care at all. I imagine that's probably why he forgot to yell cut at some points in this movie. And they would have just, keep that, whatever. He also, when he answers them, he tells them, hey, I'm filming the blah, 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 blah. So then he doesn't have to edit the DVD commentary because they've given him permission to use the phone call. Like, he kind of knows what he's doing, you know? At least he didn't break any laws with those phone calls. Every time someone would kind of question one of his shot choices, he's always quite defensive about it, or he'd even just throw it away like, yeah, but who cares? It's a movie. Like when they ask, hey, why is there a lamp there in an island that has no electricity? You know. Yeah.
I like how they, for continuity, showed Rudy lighting a candle. Mm-hmm. And then there were all the candles were lit in the House of the Dead. Like, yes. He went around, he lit 80 candles.
Yeah.
But at least we showed one candle being lit, so that explains it.
Yeah, no, that's... An opening shot just says, it's like a weird graphic from the video game just saying, you must stop Curian. That's it. And that is an homage to the game itself. Because by the end, it's Curian.
That's right, the Rudy Curian.
Yes.
Rudolph Curian.
Who's the bad guy in the video games, who created the zombies. So it doesn't really make sense.
But it doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense because at the end of this film, and that's what I was sort of getting at, is that he, in his narration, goes, well, we're coming back now. I don't know what's going to happen to her. To me, the implication was that he had given her the blood juice to keep her alive, the zombie blood juice.
Yeah.
And there's some horrible thing about you do anything for love sort of thing as well at the end there. Yeah.
I've already talked about the homage to Star Trek by just calling the captain Captain Kirk, who doesn't like any comparisons to Star Trek.
Yeah.
Odd, no reason for that. It's not very entertaining or anything. It's just a bit weird. Made me remember his name. That's about it.
Yeah.
There's a brief scene where a lady who went on to be Lois Lane in the Smallville series. There's just a brief scene. I don't even want to talk about it.
Don't you?
No. I don't.
Erica Durance.
There we go. That's an homage to Jaws.
So yeah, Erica Durance, who plays Lois Lane in Smallville, is in this film before she was Lois Lane.
I think she's even...
And she's changed her name in this to Erica Parker, so no one actually knows that she's in this film. So this is the kind of film that, you know, you get offered to be in this type of film and you're at the start of your career and you know that you've got to do nudity, you're probably not going to say no. Because you know you need the money fundamentally, and you're probably like, oh, who's ever going to see this film? Now that's still kind of true, but on the same token, it has developed this insane cult kind of hate. But we got to watch it. That's why we're doing this fucking thing. So bad. It's not good, but everyone wants to talk about it because it's so bad. And anyway, so I imagine that was her choice here. She is an amazing actress, and she is very good in Smallville. And
I wouldn't say her acting's bad here either.
yeah, unfortunately, not or unfortunately, depending on whether or not you ever wanted to see Lois Lane's boobs, you can see him here. So
Is that a PSA?
that is a PSA. So,
Public service announcements. Hey, Lois Lane titties, get your fill.
if that's what you're into,
Or if you don't want to watch Jaws, but you want to be reminded of Jaws, watch the scene where...
and you like Lois Lane.
Yeah. You don't even have to like her, but she's there. It's a bonus.
Yeah. Also, the weird part about that scene is she's in the water.
Yes.
Her boyfriend is on the shore. He doesn't want to get in because it's too cold.
No, he doesn't want to get in because it's too cold and his penis will shrink.
Right.
He makes a point to look down his pants.
Yeah.
I did say I didn't want to talk about the scene. He looks down his pants and he goes, oh no, too cold for me.
Yeah.
And so she braves it out in what was very cold water for filming, like 2 degrees.
Right.
Very cold.
Yeah.
Sucked for the cameraman too, but at least he got to wear clothes.
Yep.
Or some kind of
Wetsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't. She was braving it.
And what's weird is that he gets taken by a zombie on the shore.
We don't know that. All we know is that a camera approaches him and goes.
but it's kind of like, okay, she's in the water with a direct eye line back to him.
No, but she's facing the other way. And she's calling for him. She doesn't know where he is. And he doesn't make a sound. He fell asleep. He falls asleep instantly. That's how the zombie's able to sneak up on him on gravel, where he's just pretending to be comfortable. Oh, I'm just going to sleep on this gravel beach. Yes, comfy.
It's a precursor of things to come.
I did not like the scene. Didn't. The only thing I liked about the scene, I mean, you can
you can do the math.
You can figure it out.
You can do the math.
It's the part where he looked down his own pants. So that being an homage to Jaws, Greg, before dying, was hiding under a tree, under like the path, and the zombies come looking at him.
Right.
Do you know what that's an homage to?
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Yes, of course. Which had come out 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I went, oh, wow, this movie's better for referencing that. That's 2 times it's done that.
Well, I just thought it was hilarious that within like this bush, where the zombies are making all sorts of noises, running about.
Yeah.
This twig snap alerts them back to him.
Yeah.
They would have been hearing 500 twig snaps at that time.
Was it a twig snap, or was he stepping on a malfunctioning springboard?
The springboard is what gave it away.
Yeah.
That also didn't really make much sense to me. But,
no.
Trying to find sense in this film.
That's where I think your enjoyment was lacking, was trying to make sense of this film. I was enjoying it. I did enjoy this film for the same reasons that you didn't enjoy it, was that it made no sense. It was stupid. There were a lot of mistakes made. A lot of mistakes made, including us choosing to do this. However, I was reminded of things like Scarface when they were getting all the weapons out of the box.
Man,
a nice little homage there.
That weapon scene was so bad. Like a normal montage of like a weapon scene of like people sort of like gearing up to do something is all cocking guns, clipping things on, doing a whole bunch of different actions.
Yep.
And this, it was simply guns being passed to people. Pass a gun, pass another gun, pass a gun, pass another gun.
Uh-huh. But would you like me to pass you a grenade?
Yeah.
Sir?
Let's not forget the grenade. Pass a gun. And this montage went for ages.
Yep.
It was so weird.
Like Scarface.
But it was almost like you knew what a montage was.
Oh, yeah.
You knew what it was.
Yeah.
But you didn't really know how to execute one, and you just kind of go, this is a facsimile of what a montage is, right? Oh, okay, go, pass that gun. Now you pass that gun. Now you pass that gun.
It's the same energy as someone who's just discovered transitions when like editing a video
That's
or something.
right. 50 transitions in a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've got like star wipes and you know, fade in, and then you've the next thing, fade out. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's like, I know how to do these. So I'm going to show off that I can do them. Yeah,
the only thing that made me not mention that montage earlier was the flashback montage.
Oh, yeah.
that had, took higher precedence in stupidity levels.
The montage.
Yeah.
While they're in the house, this is on the DVD commentary, that they are basically laughing at Uwe Boll at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't realize they're doing it, or he doesn't care.
Mm.
Kurian kisses Allison. That is Smart Woman's name, Allison.
Mm.
And he says, "Oh, it's kind of like Gone with the Wind." No, it's not.
It's nothing like Gone with the Wind.
They outwardly just laugh at him, and they even go like, "Really? Gone with the Wind? You think this is?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, it's a nice, sweet moment."
Yeah, that also bothered me that they decided to make out at this time where, several of their friends had been eaten alive. They're fighting for their lives.
Was this before or after Boat Patrol police lady's legs had been eaten off?
Yes.
It was before or after?
It was after.
Okay.
It was after, sorry.
I mean, it was both. It was either before or after, wasn't it?
Straight after, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, basically what happens is he goes back in and there's just this, like, stump sort of blanket on the floor. And he's like, "It's my fault. I did it. You weren't there, were you?" And she's like, "Hey, it's okay. Let's make out."
Not as bad as the whinging of the guy who got a slight red gauze mat on his face. He went, "Oh, I'm like the Elephant Man." Shut up, you underwear model.
Yes.
God, couldn't care less about that guy.
I did make a note of that. This weird subplot, which is as close to a sort of a character development as there is really in this.
He got worse.
But yeah, this model guy's face, and again, it's not really like established that he's like this vain narcissistic model, or even that that's his career or anything like that.
I think at some point they do say underwear model.
Yeah.
At some point.
But that's like, it's just a throwaway line that makes, has no bearing on anything.
She's going to go study fencing.
Doesn't inform his character at all. And then suddenly he has this whole scene where he's talking about how his career is over. And he's like, I'm disfigured, I'm the Elephant Man. It's like, while you're trying to avoid being eaten alive, you're worried about this scar on your cheek.
Like his career.
This seems very trivial.
Just stay alive. And also
then they start making out.
And the reason he got that was his fault.
That's right. He kicked the zombie on the ground.
And then he went to mount it and fucking do some ground and pound instead of shooting it with a gun like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Just, he got what he deserved.
He did
basically, including the homage to Pearl Harbor, where they follow the bullet into the barrel, but they had a barrel instead of Cuba Gooding Jr., You make do.
So I guess one final thing for me.
Yes.
And I wanted to point this out because I feel like it's indicative of, I guess, the level of hate for this film.
Mm-hmm.
How people view Uwe Boll.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for a Marvel post-credit scene,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get one.
No.
But I got this instead. Now, this is actually quite rare in films for them to point to a website. That actually is not like a thing that normally. Yeah. Normally it's all rights reserved. Nothing was harmed to the making of this. Any connection to things, between living or dead is coincidence.
Living or undead.
Yeah, but they and a copyright. That's what they normally have. But this kind of, I think, reflects Uwe Boll in that he is a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He is a sort of a guy who's thinking about making money and how best to do that and how to best to make money off his films, which unfortunately has allowed him to have this career that he's had. Now, I went to this website.
I'm on it right now.
Yeah, so if you go to houseofthedeadmovie.com, you can see what we're talking about. What's great is that it is no longer owned by Uwe Boll.
Oh.
I don't believe. I believe that he let the domain lapse, and a group of people who are maybe not big fans of this film have posted. So you can go to this website right now.
As I have.
And you will see a bunch of reviews of this film. And no, they're not ones that he's selected.
Oh, definitely not.
So essentially what I think has happened is a bunch of critics, or even just one critic, or maybe just one person that doesn't like Uwe Boll, saw that he let this domain lapse. They purchased it, and then they put up all these reviews on this website. So in a extremely ironic turn of events, Uwe Boll's film advertises a website which buries the film.
However, if you're seeing this, he's either got your money or he was never going to have your money. So really, now he's also saved money by not
paying for the domain anymore.
Exactly.
It just feels there's just something very...
Or what if he sold them the domain? That would be hilarious.
That is conceivable.
Yes.
I think he just let it lapse, but...
Oh, yeah. A laughably horrible movie, said Spencer H. on Christmas Eve in 2016. Good on you, Spencer. I think that's a pretty good way to sum up the movie. However, I think this movie is a 10. Do you think this movie is a 10?
Of?
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, yeah, it's a 10 of something.
Yeah.
But what's your final rating?
This isn't a rating of how good this film is. It's
your enjoyment.
My enjoyment of the film.
Yeah.
And I'd say I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Resident Evil. So, this is a 10 out of 15. One of the highest ratings.
Wow.
Allegedly. I don't know how that works out numbers-wise.
Yeah.
Good luck converting that into numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, 10 out of 15.
Okay. And I think that's what I rated Resident Evil.
That's what we both rated Resident Evil.
So I rate this one 10 out of 1,000.
That's the highest score this movie's ever gotten. 1,000. I thought you hated this movie.
10 out of 1,000.
That is a high.
10 out of 1,000. See, this is the thing. I think
this movie is 1% redeemable to you.
Look, this is what I'm going to say is like, I think it hits me different because I'm a filmmaker.
Yes.
Right? And so when you're a filmmaker and you struggle and strive all your life to make movies, and then you see someone kind of shit on the art form from a great height,
yes,
it makes you angry.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you very angry because you're like, oh, this kind of defies what we all try and do, which is learn the craft and get good so we can make films. And it's like, this guy has done none of those things and is making many more films and will, and sadly, unless things, really take a dramatic change, will be responsible for more films in the world than me. So, I think it's just upsetting from a professional standpoint for me.
Yeah.
Do I recommend it if you're a Lois Lane fan? But otherwise, I would probably say there's much better bad B movies. Because I really do like kind of schlocky B horror movies, which I think to some degree this is trying to be.
Maybe. Because he clearly didn't care enough to make it good.
Yeah, like he's embracing some elements of that.
Yes.
But it's just so far away from that for me in terms of enjoyment. So yeah, 10 out of 1,000. 10 out of 1,000, that's my rating.
It's so funny because a lot of people would just be like, this movie sucks and it's bad. And
I've got problems because we've got more to watch from this director.
Sorry.
I've got a lot of problems because unfortunately he's responsible for the most video game adaptations, full stop, right?
Maybe Paul W.S. Anderson. Because he's got the Resident Evil series and he's got Monster Hunter and he's got the first Mortal Kombat.
True.
So at least
they're competing. They're both up there.
Yeah. One's definitely made better ones. As you saw today, Uwe Boll. The better of the two. 10 out of 15. Did we both put 10 out of 15? Yeah, cool. I've got a recommendation on YouTube if you just search for the commentary blunders with Uwe Boll. Some YouTube channel. I couldn't actually find the full DVD commentary. All I could find was this YouTube video that has what they consider the highlights of the DVD commentary. So seek that out on youtube.com. Also, if you want to see a good zombie movie, there's one directed by one Guy Pigden, which is called
I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Is that appropriate? He's German.
There's a story behind the name.
It is appropriate. Uwe Boll has literally played Hitler in his own movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I think you can. There's probably some nuance in your movie, I imagine.
I hope.
I'll watch it one day.
One day.
And for the next episode, I'm going to do one more nomination before we go to, drawing movies out of a hat, per se. I am going to put myself through it one more time. Super Mario Brothers. The original video game movie. The one that really launched the failure of Nintendo games being adapted into video games.
And launched the failure of any video game to make a good movie, one might say.
You haven't enjoyed one? All right, we'll get there. A long process, but we'll get there.
We peaked too early with Resident Evil.
Yes.
We peaked way too early.
It's unfortunate. But yeah, so for the next episode, we'll be watching Morton Jenkel's Super Mario Brothers from 1993. Sorry, guy.
Can't wait.
All right, bye.
Bye.